The signal that shouldn't exist. Emergency Research Log Dr. Vesa, Chief Xenolinguist. Relay Station Omicron 7, Deep Space. Cycle 4892 of the Galactic Accord. We heard the signal 3 months ago, and it broke every rule we have about how the universe works. Let me be clear, I am Saraki. My species has been traveling the stars for 60,000 years. We've cataloged 847 sentient species. We've mapped 32% of the galaxy. We invented faster-than-light communication. And this signal should not exist. It started as static on the Deep Space Monitoring Array. Background noise, we thought, cosmic radiation. The intern almost deleted it. Then the pattern emerged. Not random, not natural, mathematical, prime numbers in sequence. Pi to 40 decimal places, the universal constants. It was deliberate, it was a message. But the source point was impossible. The signal originated from a region we call the Silence, a dead zone stretching 300 light-years across. No stars, no planets, no radiation above background levels, just empty space. We'd surveyed it twice. There was nothing there. And yet something was transmitting. Broadcasting continuously, growing stronger by the day. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Theories flew: ancient AI, dimensional breach, weapon test by an unknown faction. They sent our research team to investigate. 4 ships, 37 scientists from 8 species, the best we had. And 1 human. Dr. James Cotto was not supposed to be on this mission. Humans are Tier 6, barely past their first FTL drives. They've been part of the galactic community for 11 years. They're enthusiastic, yes, adaptable, but primitive. Dr. Cotto was a cultural anthropologist, not a physicist or an engineer. He'd been studying Saraki trade poetry, recreational research, essentially, when the council decided they needed diverse perspectives. Translation: they needed to meet their inclusion quota, and a human was politically convenient. He arrived on Omicron 7 wearing mismatched clothing and carrying a bag full of things that made no sense. Printed books, a metal tin of something called tea, a small potted plant. "Fern," he said when I asked about the plant, "reminds me of home. This is a military research station. It will die here." "Maybe," he said it on the windowsill of his quarters, "but it's nice to have something green to look at." I thought he was an idiot. We reached the Silence on week 4. Our lead physicist, Dr. Thuron, had calculated the signal's exact origin point. We dropped out of FTL directly on top of it. Empty space. Scanners showed nothing. No mass, no energy signatures, no gravitational anomalies. But the signal was deafening now, coming from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Dr. Cotto was the one who figured it out. He was in the observation bay, staring out at the void when he said, "It's not broadcasting from a place, it's broadcasting from a state." "Explain," I demanded. He pulled out one of his printed books, something about Earth burial practices. "When my species lost someone, we'd often say they were trapped between worlds." Not literally, it was metaphorical. But what if the Praxians took it literally, built technology to exist in an intermediate state? Dr. Thuron's facial tendrils curled. "You're suggesting they're phased, existing in superposition." "I'm saying the pattern matches funeral rites from 40 different cultures in my database. The repeated phrases, the mathematical sequences, it's not a distress beacon, it's a prayer. They're performing last rites, for themselves, over and over." "That's anthropological speculation," Thuron said. "Yes," Cotto agreed, "but if I'm right, we're not looking for a ship, we're looking for a tomb." We thought he was speculating wildly. Then our sensors detected the first ship. It appeared at the edge of our scanner range, like a ghost solidifying. Massive, 10 kilometers long, shaped like a spiral shell, covered in symbols we didn't recognize. Hull material registered as crystalline, organic, and metallic simultaneously. Impossible readings. And it was old. Carbon dating suggested it had been here for 3 million years. "That's a Praxian vessel," Dr. Thuron whispered. Everyone in the observation bay froze. The Praxians were the precursor species, the first known spacefaring civilization. They'd vanished 2 million years ago under mysterious circumstances. Every species in the galaxy evolved in the wake of their disappearance. We'd found ruins, artifacts, but never an intact ship. They're still transmitting, Kato said quietly, studying the signal's waveform. They've been transmitting for 3 million years, trying to get someone's attention. Why, I asked. He looked at me. Because they're dying and they can't stop. The mystery deepened over the next 6 days. There wasn't one ship. There were thousands. An entire fleet phased just outside normal space, visible only when our sensors were calibrated to the signal's frequency. They were all transmitting the same message. Dr. Thuron translated it. Help us, we cannot die. We cannot wake, help us. The Praxians had discovered a form of quantum stasis, a way to exist outside normal spacetime, achieving effective immortality. They'd phased their entire civilization into this state. But something had gone wrong. They were trapped, conscious but incorporeal, existing in a state between life and death, unable to move forward or back. For 3 million years, they'd been screaming into the void. And we had no way to help them. The energy required to phase shift matter at that scale. Dr. Thuron's tendrils drooped in despair. We'd need to channel the output of a star directly into their dimensional matrix, and even then, we have no idea if it would free them or destroy them. The Council's orders came swiftly. Observe, document, do not interfere. We were to leave them there, screaming, forever. Dr. Kato refused. There has to be a way to help them, he said. Human, even if we wanted to, I gestured at the data. This is quantum physics at scales we've never attempted. We'd need specialists, equipment we don't have. You have Dr. Thuron, best quantum physicist in the sector, right? Thuron's tendrils rippled with cautious pride. I've published extensively on phase state mechanics. And I know how the Praxians thought, Kato interrupted. I've studied their cultural remains for 3 years, their art, their philosophy, their concept of death and transcendence. He pulled up holographic images, Praxian tomb murals, architectural patterns. They believed consciousness was quantum entanglement with the universe. They built their technology around spiritual concepts. What are you suggesting? I asked. I'm suggesting that Dr. Thuron can calculate how to breach their quantum lock, but I can tell you why they're locked and what they need to hear to let go. He looked between us. They're not trapped by physics, they're trapped by fear, and the solution isn't more power, it's the right frequency. The right ritual. Dr. Thuron clicked mandibles thoughtfully. If you're correct about the cultural context, yes. Yes, I could modulate the phase pulse to match their spiritual wavelength instead of trying to brute force through it. That's insane, I said. Probably, Kato agreed. But it might work, and if we don't try, they suffer forever, or billions die in 6 hours when this ruptures. I should have said no. I should have followed orders, reported his insubordination, had him confined to quarters. Instead, I said, how much time do you need? We worked for 5 hours straight, all the time we had. Dr. Thuron handled the quantum calculations, reconfiguring our FTL drives to create a resonance pulse. Dr. Kato provided the cultural context, ancient Praxian funerary frequencies, the mathematical ratios they considered sacred, the wavelengths they believed guided souls to rest. Together, they built something impossible, a quantum pulse wrapped in a 3-million-year-old prayer. Dr. Thuron calculated a 9% chance of success, 60% chance of catastrophic drive failure, 31% chance of creating a dimensional rupture that would consume everything within a light year. Those are terrible odds, I said. Yep, Kato agreed. He was recalibrating a power coupling, his hands steady despite the tremor I'd noticed in his jaw. Fear. He was terrified. Why are you doing this? He didn't look up from his work. My grandmother had dementia, spent the last 3 years of her life locked inside her own head, aware enough to know she was trapped but unable to communicate, unable to escape. I was 14. I watched her suffer. He sealed the coupling. When she finally died, I remember thinking, thank God it's over. He looked at me then. The Praxians don't get to die. They've been in that state for 3 million years. No one should suffer like that, not even for a day. The dimensional rupture began at 2:30 station time. Our interference with the quantum-locked fleet had destabilized something. The phase barrier was collapsing, not gradually, but catastrophically. Within 6 hours, the Praxian ships would be pulled fully into normal space. 3 million years of accumulated quantum instability, released all at once. Dr. Thuron's projections were apocalyptic. The energy release would sterilize everything within 10 light years, including the 4 inhabited systems along the sector border. Billions dead. We have to leave, Thuron said. Get to minimum safe distance. We can't outrun it, Kato said quietly. Our drives are already showing cascade failures from the scanning resonance. We'd make it maybe 2 light years before we're caught in the blast wave. He was right, we were trapped here, and so were the Praxians. But what if we controlled the collapse? Kato continued. Instead of letting it rupture chaotically, we guide it, channel the release through our FTL drives in a synchronized pulse, disperse the energy instead of letting it detonate. That would destroy our ships, I said. We're dead anyway, he replied. At least this way, we take the blast with us instead of letting it hit those populated systems. We fired the pulse at 400 station time. 4 ships, 4 FTL drives, all of their power channeling through Kato's network into a single focused beam, forcing the quantum collapse into a controlled release. The space around the Praxian fleet shattered. Not metaphorically, space itself cracked like glass fractures of light spreading through the void. The ghost ships flickered, solid, then transparent, then solid again. Then they began to collapse. Not destroyed, released, the crystalline hulls fragmenting into light, into energy, into something my sensors couldn't measure. The signal, that 3 million year scream, shifted. It became something else. Music. Not sound, pure meaning transmitted directly into our minds. Gratitude, relief, joy, peace. The Praxians were dying, finally dying. And they were grateful. Our ship survived. Barely, 3 of the 4 drives burned out completely. We're adrift, waiting for rescue. It'll take 6 weeks for a recovery team to reach us. The Council is furious. Dr. Thuron faces court-martial. I'll probably be stripped of my research credentials. Dr. Kato is sitting in the observation bay, drinking his tea, talking to his fern. Was it worth it? I asked him. He smiled, tired, sad. Yeah. We destroyed millions of credits worth of equipment, violated first contact protocols, potentially destabilized dimensional barriers. We ended 3 million years of suffering, he said quietly. We gave them peace, everything else is just paperwork. Research log addendum. Analysis of the Praxian frequency pulse has revealed something unexpected. In the moment of their release, they transmitted one final message. Thank you for remembering that mercy matters more than rules. Guard this truth when you become what we were. I don't know what that means. But I'm watching Dr. Kato water his fern, this stupid, fragile little plant that has no business surviving on a military research station. And I think maybe I understand. Humans don't ask, can we? Or should we according to protocol? They ask, is someone suffering? Can I help? And then they break every rule necessary to do it. The Saraki conquered the stars through logic and efficiency. Humanity might just save them through stubborn, illogical compassion. End log.